what this is talking about. Literally finding the voice that emerges, and how most people just, most people's voices are never truly actualized. The voice that is just in here that wants to come forth and wants to speak their own truth. So many people's voices, they never really get to come in contact with it because it has to leave here. It'll just stay in here. They never get to actually meet their real voice. And there was a point in time in my life where I thought I would never be able to meet my voice. I would never understand, the power in being able to voice your own voice because it was hidden under so much trauma. Anytime that I went to speak it, it was like it would get choked out. And that was just the beginning of the cycle of me not being able to speak my voice. And I've said it before, once a person that finds their voice, it's hard to get them to shut up. You just don't want to shut the hell up because you spent so long, denying what was truly inside, whether it was due to trauma or whatever. There's so many different reasons why people don't find their voice. Finding the voice is not the problem. Getting that voice to come forth is. It's like we hear the voice, we know the voice. I know the voice is there, but trying to get that voice to come forward whenever it's trapped underneath a bunch of trauma and trapped, underneath all this other stuff, it's hard. It's a task. The voice already exists beneath conditioning, adaptation, and survival strategies. Silence is not absence. It's not absence. It's not absent. It's not like your voice isn't there. It's pressure applied inward over time. The pressured inward that you apply to yourself, that whatever it is, story that you keep telling yourself that prevents you from being able to speak your truth. When self-trust replaces self-monitoring, expression stops feeling dangerous. Because now you're not like you're worried about everything that you're going to say and how is it going to come out and when it's your truth. Like just speaking it, right? Just speaking your truth is the remedy. It doesn't really matter how it's going to come out as long as it's coming out. Because it's the pressure that builds and keeps that voice, that's what keeps people from meeting their voice. You have to be able to meet your voice. And so many people never, ever get to meet their voice. That voice in the head when something happens and you want to say something and you don't. Or when you want to stick up for this situation, but you don't. Because you haven't found your voice. You don't know how to find your voice. You have to be able to find your voice. Anytime that you want to say something that you're not able to say, you're not meeting your voice. And so many people live this life never even meeting their true voice. It always stays inside. It always stays buried. It always stays underneath. It never comes out. That's meeting your voice. That's allowing you to meet your voice and for others to meet you. Because most people just, they're not meeting the real you. They're just meeting the personality that's filled with all, the environments that we were raised in and all the people that we come in contact, that we kind of take different bits and pieces of people and put it within ourselves. And that's our personality. But like your true voice, your true essence of who you are, most people never get to meet that person, that voice. And it's unfortunate. I found that the truth is usually wrapped in pain. That's usually what prevents people from speaking their truth, their voice, their authenticity, their, everything that makes up you. Aside from, the indoctrination and stuff like that. Most people don't get a chance to hear your voice, your true voice, because it's surrounded in pain. I found that your truth is usually wrapped in pain. Pain marks the exact location where truth was once suppressed to maintain belonging or safety. And that's what we do. That's what I talked about in the last live whenever, indoctrination happens, whether it's religious, whether it's science schools, all these different ways to indoctrinate somebody before they have a chance to form their own beliefs. It ends up being a cult mindset was the last live. And then it gets to the point where did little Susie or little Johnny give their life to Jesus? Or was it this what I'm talking about? You're doing it and maintaining a sense of belonging and safety, because if you dare step outside of that, there's hell waiting for you. There's being ostracized if you're in the scientific community. If you're in the political stuff, you can ruin your career, your label, your identities are built on these things. Indoctrination. So it's like, if a kid is forced to, saying, hey, I really don't believe in this, and the result is going to be, well, you're going to go to hell. We really don't want to associate with you unless you believe what we believe. Like, that is a cult mentality. And that would keep somebody from speaking their voice, right? They would just go along with the program. They would just go along with the programming. And their voice would always be in here. It's not like like I said, it's not like it's absent, because it's there. The voice is in there telling you the whole time. But when it tries to emerge, pain wraps around it. It is evidence of contact, not failure. You've had contact with all this stuff, all this information, all that. This is the way you respond. It's not like, and it's the voices that the stories that you tell yourself, why you can't speak, why it's this time and it's not appropriate, and all the reasons that make up why you can't ever bring your voice to the surface. When pain is matched with curiosity instead of avoidance, it unfolds information that cannot be accessed any other way. You gotta get past what you already know with the pain. Your curiosity, be able to speak your voice, to be able to authentically be known, should be more important, should overpower that. Self-care looks exactly the way you envision it, not the way others envision theirs. So everybody's got a plan for self-care, or their idea what self-care is, right? And self-care is going to look like exactly what your inner knowing tells you what it looks like. Because I thought it was literally, like treating yourself, getting your hair done, stuff like that, just, taking care. But self-care goes so far beyond that. And what I learned as I defined it for myself, some of my self-care was buying me stuff that pertained to my childhood that I always wanted. That was self-care for me. That might not be a part of somebody's self-care. It means absolutely nothing to them. They had everything they wanted as a kid. So that was at a time self-care. And it's not like something that I just continue to do. It's just like there are things in my life that I know I needed to self-care and give my inner child what I didn't get when I was younger. And self-care looks like getting massages at times and playing video games sometimes, or eating by myself and the quietness type shit. It's going to look different for everybody. Self-care looks exactly the way you envision it, not the way others envision theirs. Self-care is an internal calibration, not a performative routine borrowed from others' lives. It's exactly what fits your shit. And even dealing with my abuse and shit, self-care, like exploring that sexual side of myself, that was self-care in that time, in that moment. Like I had to figure some shit out. But that's not everybody's self-care. It's not going to look like that. That's not going to be in anybody's self-care routine. That's why it's something that's in here. It's something that you envision. It can't be shit everybody else envisions. Self-care looks exactly the way you envision it, not the way others envision theirs. It's an internal calibration. I had to calibrate all the shit where I wasn't caring for myself. Learning to take care of myself in certain ways. Even like I remember whenever my foot, the bottom of my heel was getting all crusty and shit. And I was like, man, I'm not having some fucked up looking crusty, yellow, nasty. I was like, I'm not doing all that. So like I've figured this shit out. And now it's a part of my self-care routine. If you ain't got one of them stones in your fucking shower, you get you one of them petty stones and you rub that shit and it never comes back. Like it never arrives. Like you just keep everything at bay. You keep it all. But if you don't know, you don't know. But instead of making that something that was going to affect my self-confidence or do any of that stuff, I was like, what's the remedy to this shit? And then once you see because it's hard to take care of yourself when you don't love yourself. You just don't care enough to. So the self-care that you've always envisioned, like at one point, since I was so nappy as a kid, I always wanted my hair, straight. I wanted it clean cut. I wanted everything in order. So like I would never have to look in the mirror and feel that feeling. And like that was a part of like self-care for me, like making sure that my shit was clean cut and I would never look in the mirror and have to see that and give myself that feeling. And then it got to the point where, I wanted to really, since I didn't get to experience, I was raised by white people and mainly women my whole life. So it's like I'm mixed biracial and my hair, they never knew what to do with my hair. And I always wanted to do all this stuff with my hair, but I never got a chance to. I never was shown. I never didn't know anything about it. So now that was another part of the self-care. Now I had to grow my hair out, and go through the awkward stage and figure the shit out and get it braided and do all these different things. That's a form of self-care for me. And that's not everybody's story. That's not everybody's routine. It's going to look however you envision it. Authentic care restores coherence between body, mind, and identity rather than conforming to social approved methods. Like I could sit here and draw all this stuff up and make a I could create a whole course on self-care if I wanted to, and people would buy it. But it's going to be my version of self-care. You know what I mean? Like when you really get to understand and know yourself, you'll know what self-care is. And you'll start to figure it out and you'll start to do it. And it's like, man, this is what self-care looks like. This is what it feels like, and then you get into these are all levels and stages. You don't just arrive when you come from tremendous backgrounds of trauma and not knowing how to do things. And, you're putting this stuff together largely by yourself. Not to say, and there hasn't been some parenting here and there or whatever. And like, we didn't, but like the major shit that we're trying to figure out, when you spend time with yourself, when you really get to know yourself, you'll know how to treat yourself. When you really start living up to your own expectations. And you identify with all these different things and people, places, and things for a reason. And it's magnetic to you for a reason. It's because it's demanding to be reckoned with. Your self-worth is demanding to be reckoned with. It wants all these things it's magnetizing to. Because all you got to do is look at it as, why isn't it the same thing magnetizing to them? And them, and her, or them. There's certain things that you like for a reason. That's self-care. You have to give yourself those things. You have to stop calling it selfish like the world does. You have to stop listening to all this outside noise and what people's version of this stuff looks like. Your pain will persist and compound if ignored. It never solves itself as expected. Every single time that my pain is there and I try to ignore it and I try to put it off until later and I just think it's going to solve itself, it never does. It never has. It's never just worked itself out, because even if it feels like it's gone, it's still back there somewhere and it's just waiting to come up in an inopportune time. And you think that, oh, okay, now that I don't feel the pain anymore, it's not going to bother me. I'm good. Yeah. And then like something tragic happens and it's like, hey, remember me? Remember that undealt with shit? Remember that pain you didn't fucking get rid of? Now you got this shit and me. What now? Like, that's how that shit works. That's how it the unresolved is never going to resolve itself. That's not the way that math works. Unattended pain does not disappear. It reorganizes behavior, perception, and decision-making from the background. So you think you're making all these decisions based on this pain that's seemingly back here somewhere, and it's like the devil on your shoulder or whatever. It's like this. It's that doubt. It's that undealt with pain. It's that, you didn't really take care of that. You still need to do this and do that. But man, it's like I'm moving and grooving, and you got the music on, you got the perfume and cologne on, and you're still making decisions. You're going here and doing that. The whole time that shit's back there, knocking on the door, and you acting like it's not there. It just reorganizes your behavior is all it does. You just start working around it. You start working around the pain. Integration requires engagement. What is acknowledged can be metabolized. What is avoided accumulates interest. You can metabolize this stuff. You can get it to where it works. You metabolize it, it comes forth, the energy comes out, and you deal with it. Or you avoid it, and sooner or later, when it's time to pay, interest is occurring. You're going to have to pay the pain and whatever interest is occurred since you didn't deal with it. All the stories that continue to grow bigger, interest. Not being able to go and do the things that you want to do because it's undealt with, interest. So you have that main thing, but now it's got interest. Now you can't even do shit because of it. Because it's too much. You can't pay the debt. You can't pay the bill. It's craziness. It requires engagement. You got to engage the pain. You got to engage the unresolved. It has to be met head on. And be like, yeah, this is why I am the way I am. This is why I do the things I do. And this is what I don't like. And this is what I do like. Do I really want to change this, or do I not want to change this? Do I just want to integrate it into my life and just make it a thing where it doesn't bother me like it used to, or what? Like, you got to get to these realizations and conversations with yourself. And it's going to look different for everyone because everybody's experience is different. When internal variables are reconciled, effort converts cleanly into meaning rather than constant compensation, where you're constantly have to trying to deal with it. Now it becomes a meaning. It becomes a purpose. It becomes something that you can stand on top of. It's not something that's standing on top of you anymore. When you discover aspects of yourself you don't like, befriend them. That's what you do, right? And this is vulnerable shit. And this isn't everybody's story, so everybody's not going to understand this. How will you ever get to know the real you if you never let yourself fully emerge, right? And how do you know unless you allow that? So if I had all this sexual confusion because, whether it was because I was molested or not, there was sexual confusion there. And until I let that emerge and try to figure the shit out, it was just a constant deal, a constant unknowing and undealt with thing. And you got the church saying this, and you got this person saying that, and you got this, and it's like, none of that shit applies. This was not my experience. Like, this was planted, nurtured, all that. And it's like, so when you discover aspects of yourself you don't like, befriend them. That's what I did. I befriended it. I went out, and let's just say I tasted to see if it was good for me or not. And so then I knew, then I know, then I befriended it. Now it's like, it's not a big deal. It's not something that I gotta fucking constantly be looming. It's like, it is what it is. I integrated it into my being, into my shit. Like, okay. And if somebody wants to call me this or that, okay. Was it your experience? And it's like, how can you call me a this or that whenever, like, I still haven't even defined shit to the degree that I'm satisfied with, because it's my experience, which goes back to self-care and redefining self-care and what that looks like for you. Because like I said, everybody's not going to have to do that. Everybody's not going to have to integrate that into their life. Everybody's not going to have to befriend that. But the things that you despise or don't like about yourself, you're going to have to befriend. You're going to have to get to some form of integration and acceptance so you can move on with your life. And it takes so much guts it does. Cause now even last year, I wouldn't even talk like I'm talking right now. There's no how I'd be saying I explored that shit. I did that shit. You know what I mean? Like I would have never said that out loud. And knowing like coworkers watch this shit, listen to it and all kinds, like it gets to the point where your experience and your life matters more than what anybody fucking thinks. And like I said, you begin to stand on top of this shit and allowing anyone or anything stand on top of you because it was your experience. And it was like people that are sitting back and talking the shit or watching or whatever, they wish they could find their voice. Most people never meet their voice. They never are able to meet their voice on this level to where they can say shit like this, the very intimate shit, the scary shit, the boogeyman shit that you try to keep in the closet. There's more than one way of coming out the closet. It's not just fucking, for gay people and shit. There's a lot of skeletons in the closet. There's a lot of shit in people's closet that need to come out. The first gift they ever sent, express your appreciation. Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. It's really some shit. And this is what I said. None of this shit happens overnight, right? You don't find your voice like this overnight. This has been over 27 years in the making. And I looked at my YouTube video, the first one I did in 2010, where I said there's going to be a lot more of this coming. And that shit didn't come for 15 years. The voice that I have now from the time I made that video, from the videos that I make now, didn't come for 15 years. Cause I was like, I'm gonna, I got like, since I did the video and I did all this shit and I sat down and I made that YouTube video and I never did editing and I never fucking threw graphics up and mixed it with the music. I never did any of that shit. I sat down and did it all in one fucking setting. And then like the scariness of my voice and not sure how I'm and just saying things that I didn't want to say. And then I'll be like, there's going to be way more to come. This is just the beginning. And then I never made another video for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? But now I got like 200 plus in the last year. Cause I'm just like throwing shit up, and I was seeing what works on YouTube and what doesn't and trying different shit. But you don't arrive at these places, man. That's why it gets so hard on the social media shit because you're seeing snapshots of people's lives and you're thinking you're in this spot in your life and they're there. And every time that you see them, they're in this great place. But you didn't see the fucking 20 years that it took to get to that fucking great place. And all everybody wants to talk about is the great place. Let's talk about the fucking shit that transpired for you to get there. So other people can come along with the trip and don't put it behind a fucking paywall. How about that? So we can all fucking move up together. And I can be in that great place and I can bring you along with me and then we can all be in fucking great places. And it don't cost nobody a fucking dime but the work they're doing in their life. That's it. By simply doing the work in your own life, people win all around you by default. That's the currency. And this is the thing. I'm about to go ham on this shit and start dropping so much, but there's like, I do it. I'll scroll here and I'll be like, all right. I've seen your face enough. Like, I don't want to hear what you got to say. I'm not interested in it. I love you. I loved your message when it was the time and in the space, in that space and everything. But now it gets to the point where you scroll on and then other times you stop and you listen to the message and it's all good. And I always worried about, trying to keep and maintain something instead of just, I've got so much creativity in me. I've got so much writing and so much shit that I could share. It's unbelievable. Like, I mean, look at this shit, bro. I'm not bullshitting. It's retardation. Look at this. Watch this shit. Watch. What? Uh-oh. I hope I didn't delete that. Look at this. This will go on and on and on and on and on. This is the way my mind works. Look at this shit. I could do this for probably fucking 20 minutes. And then when you stop on something, oh, this is the offline shit. When you stop on something, this is, there's so much on one page. Like it's not just that one little thing like this right here. Is this saved? Let me see. Like that. That's one thing I opened, right? That's just one. That's one of the things. Here's another one. Okay. See what I mean? That's how my mind works. So like whenever I want to get to where I'm not worried about no algorithm or worrying about this or that, and I just want to fucking put it out for people to consume, like that's what I'm about to do. All my full lives. I got over 250 lives recorded, ready to drop. And I can cut those things up. Every one of those I can cut up and make fucking 10, 15 different clips, right? So I got all this shit in the chamber. And then all I got to do is just, even after this live, right? I could just get off this live. I could drop my fucking, all my notes and my the little graphic with the notes on it. I can drop my notes in the description, like my notes, my in-depth notes that I read from. And then I could drop the live right after it every time. You know what I mean? Like every single time. Yeah, Substack is on the menu. It's on the menu. We're working. My mind, I've got so much in me. I want to do so much all at once. And it's my job that's preventing a lot of it. But I'm working my way out of it. I've got the plan. I've got the lives. I've got everything. I've got the crypto shit I'm doing. I've got all this shit that I'm doing. And it's going to get to the point where every day is a vacation, where I can just do that and do the podcast when I want and play video games and just bring everybody along for the ride and just, but we're not quite there yet. But it's all coming. But there's a plan and a purpose and my whole plan is to do it. And I level myself up in such a way that I never have to charge anybody for nothing. I don't want to charge anybody for any fucking thing ever. Besides if I write books and shit, then I'll do that. But like as far as doing this and giving information out and life experience or life lessons or whatever, I'm never charging for that shit. I'm not putting like, you want to fucking, I'm going to give you this special content if you fucking pay more. And I'm not having people invest in me. I want people to invest in themselves first and foremost. I get the currency from seeing people win. When people win, when I get a message saying that shit changed my life or I was going to kill myself if I hadn't heard that shit or watched your video, that's the fucking currency. That's what pays me. To know that somebody else is about to go from here to here, paid in full. You ain't got to send me no gift. You ain't got to send me no likes, no shares, no nothing. Level up, paid in full. And I mean that shit. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the gifts because that's authentic giving, right? Nobody's coercing you to do it. I'm not begging for it. I'm not asking for it. It is of an authentic nature. Somebody with inside themselves go, you know what? This adds value to my life in some shape, form, or fashion. And this is how I want to repay it in some shape, form, or fashion. And whenever it's not coerced, when it's not programmed, it's not, because the more you hear something over and over and over, hit the like, people are going to hit the like screen just because they've heard it over and over and over so many fucking times. Just the same way that you can hear people say certain phrases on here. And then it's just like people, you'll just start hearing, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Like everybody's talking about the same. Because it's just it's repetition. It's not even you talking anymore. You're just used to saying like the screen and tap the screen and doing all. I don't even want that shit a part of my vocabulary. I just want to bring me to the table. That's it. And then let everybody else do with what they will. It's like music, right? Everybody don't like music. Everybody ain't going to like me. Everybody isn't going to like the message. Everybody isn't. But that's the beauty of it all. You like certain music. Sometimes you like it for fucking forever. Sometimes you like it for a season. Sometimes it's really popping and then it's not at all like within a couple days. And so I can't attach myself to the way everything that I see, what people attach themselves to, and then get all worried because the views are low and doing all this. And I've been there. You know, I'm not going to lie. I've been there. And it's just like when you start seeing how the algorithm really works and how most of it's fake and a lot of it's bots, and you know what I mean? And you know whenever you're truly affecting people because you have conversations, you see their videos and there's responses to videos and you see real growth in people. So all the numbers and all that shit, me worrying about putting all these videos out and all this stuff and worrying about like, that's too much. I'm doing too much. I just got to do because it already hit my field of awareness. You can just start putting this shit out, man. And the chips are going to fall where they're going to fall. The algorithm's going to do what it's going to do. TikTok's they're going to make it or break it anyway. No matter what I do or how I do it, they're going to determine whether it's making or breaking anyway. And so I can only do so much on this platform. And then you go to Substack and you can do more stuff and shit like that, you know? It's always a state of becoming. And I got so far off the message, man, I just started rambling. I didn't get to finish. I still had the equation of self must be solved if you ever want to equal out to anything of significance. When you discover aspects of yourself you don't like, befriend them. How will you ever get to know the real you if you never let yourself fully emerge? Like you can't. Suppression fragments identity. It fragments it. Your identity is outsourced to this person, to that person, to their idea, to all these things. So you can't know who you are while that's happening. You have to bring it together to be able to give your voice what it deserves. Like it deserves to be heard. Because I'm telling you, you hold the keys to other people's shackles, like it or not. And some people will go like they'll go their whole lifetime with them keys in their pocket. They will never speak the voice. They'll be around the hurt and the pain that they can solve, and they won't know how to articulate it because they never resolved it within themselves, but they got the answer. They're like, man, I've been through that. I already been over that, but you don't know how to voice it because you're too scared because of what are they going to think? And then there's all this other, you're like, no, you got to get to the point where it's like, this is me, man. Period. Cause it's like, you don't like me. Shit. Sometimes I don't like me. What the fuck you talking about? Shit. So it's like, yeah. Sometimes I don't even like me. Don't expect everybody to like you, man. That is part of the problem, is expecting everybody to like you. Everybody's not going to like you. It's an impossibility, man. Our frequencies are two different things. This person is going to look at you and be angry just because you're doing better than them and they want what you have. There's nothing you can do about that. That's something that has to be resolved within that other person. The same way as if you're looking and comparing yourself, it's devaluing you. And that's something that has to be resolved within yourself. And so you get to the point where it's just like, I'm doing me, man. Yeah, you do hold the keys to other people's shackles. You do. And if you look at it, if you doubt for a single second, have not others held the keys to your fucking shackles? Yes or no? Like, for real. People fucking hold, man, somebody had the keys to my shackles, which has allowed me to be here today talking the way I am. Because I listened to somebody talk the way that very much like I am. So it was like, man, they unshackled my shit. And now it's like, you ain't muzzling me, baby. Shit. Are you kidding me? After all them years of being muzzled and muzzling myself and letting, schools and parents and all these other things muzzle me. Oh no. And it's freeing. And you get to bring other people along for the ride that want to like jump on board with you. And even if it's just for a time. Like I say, I'll be rocking with people until I don't. You know, seasons come, they go, people die. It's inevitable. They're going to die. Prepare for death. You know what I mean? So when it happens, you'll be like, damn, you know, it sucks, but it's not going to suck as bad because you prepared for it. Well, how do you prepare for death? No, it's fucking coming, and don't act all shocked when it does. That's part of it. The fucking shock and awe of death just baffles me when people die. And just, people just act like it's just like it's never going to happen to them. Like, what the fuck? Fuck, man. We do a lot of this shit to ourselves. I gotta go, man. I gotta get to work. I'll be back at 2:30 if anybody's up. You guys have a good night. I do appreciate all of you guys. I really do. I appreciate you hanging out with me.